Hey everybody, I am going to share with you a little bit about our homeschool schedule and what our homeschool looks like from kind of a day-to-day basis. And I'm just going to pretend that you are sitting with me here in my dining room and we're just talking about it. I will start off by saying I am by no means an expert in homeschooling, and I feel like we take everything a day at a time. And we take everything a year at a time, and it's always evolving and changing, and we're adapting constantly. So this is what we're doing currently, and it's working for us. Maybe 3 months from now that will change, but I thought I might as well share because I feel like what we have been doing recently with our schedule has been really helpful for us. So this is my 5th year of homeschooling. I have a 2nd grader, a kindergartner, and a preschooler. And the first few years when we were just doing preschool, we did like when my daughter was 3 and 4, we did a preschool that year. Then we did one when she was 4 and 5. That was her 2nd preschool year. And then we did kindergarten with her. And then we did 1st grade, and now we've just started her 2nd grade. So the first couple years, it was primarily just her. And also was really easy. It was like reading books and just like playing games and basically, calling that preschool, which definitely was preschool. So, but as time has gone on, especially this year in particular, as we're adding in my son who's doing kindergarten and has like a full curriculum for himself, I was really kind of anxious about how would that work out. We've done 3 weeks now of that, and I feel pretty comfortable now because we had a rhythm going with those 3 weeks, and I feel pretty confident that what we're doing is going to be sustainable for the year. I also had implemented the schedule I'm going to talk with you about towards the end of our last year. Last year was probably a tougher year for us, and I think a huge reason was because of not having a schedule. So in this particular video, I just want to go through some reasons why I think having a schedule is important. I'm a very scheduled person. However, in our homeschool, I don't know why I never really created a schedule. I don't like being confined to something. And so I think I loved homeschool because I like the freedom of like, if we want to do school today, great. If we want to like go do a field trip today, that's great. If we want to school in the afternoon and do something random in the morning, that's great. And like we had been doing that for a while, and I think as my kids were getting older, I think that was not working as well. It's one thing when you have really little kids and you're just toting them around and it's more about kind of keeping them entertained or just like doing fun stuff with them, and it's another, I think, when you're starting to get like actual goals that you need to accomplish with all of the things they need to do. And I think for them, point number one, I think, for why a schedule is an important thing to have would be just that I do think kids need structure. What makes me think that they need structure, and I'm sure I'm not like a psychologist or anything, in my family, what I noticed was each day I would get bombarded with questions of what are we doing next? What are we doing next? What's next? What's next? What can I do now? What can we play? What are we doing? I don't want to do school. I want to do this. I want to, it was like every single day being slammed with questions like that. And so every day I would mitigate them because I'd wake up and go, okay, what am I feeling? Am I feeling like I've got school in me today? Do I have school in me for this morning or this afternoon? Or, do we need to get out and then come home and do school? Or like, what is my energy level? And usually at the beginning of the week, I have more energy. So I'm like, Monday, we're like hitting it hard, we're doing school. And then as the week progressed, I would get more and more tired and kind of go off of my feelings, which were like, I'm too tired, I just can't. And then maybe, I'm putting a show on for the kids or whatever. And by the afternoon, when I'm like, guys, we got to get through all this stuff, it's kind of like dragging them. And it became this like kind of exhausting thing. So when we got a schedule and we implemented it, it was like probably one of the most freeing things because like I could tell the kids like this is what time it is, and for the next amount of this next chunk of time, this is what we're doing. And then each day it was the same rough outline. And so I wasn't mentally exhausted with trying to think through a new schedule every day based on my feelings. It was like I put myself into almost as if it was like work. Like, this is my schedule. At this time I do this, and then I get the kids up and ready at this time, and then we move into this and this and this, and like my downtime is later in the day, you know. So it just like would help me like not school off of my feelings, but really just implement the schedule. That is point number 2, is that I think the schedule helps you not give in to your feelings on homeschool. So rather than asking, how do I feel today? It was more like, okay, here's our goals. This is our timeline. This is what we're working with. And I was able to make more progress in our school. And I found that with our schedule, we got stuff done. We were much more efficient. The kids were they were on board. So like when I kind of, introduced it, it's like they knew what was coming, and you could just tell they liked the structure, and it decreased the amount of questions they asked me. And then even more specifically in the morning, when we did, in the morning was our main time to do school, then by the end of that chunk of time, they were really excited to go and play and go do things. And so it was almost like when I was on with them doing school, I was focused, they were focused. And then when that time was off, they would like scatter and kind of go play. I think because they had time with me kind of, and we had structured time, and then they just were like looking to go do something. And so they weren't then like, Mom, entertain me. It's like it allowed a break period for them and for me when the school was done. So that was different than when we didn't have a schedule. The third thing that I think a schedule is good for is that it puts boundaries on what you'll be doing in the time frames. And so if a child would come and ask me, like prior to a schedule, if a kid was like, hey, I really want to go and do this, or can you help me with this, or I'm building this puzzle, or I'm doing this thing, I would drop what I was doing, whatever it was, and go and help and do those things. Now, within the schedule, I can say, well, we're not doing that right now because this time chunk is for this. Or right now, this is Mom's break time. This is your break. This is your like outdoor play time or Mom's break. So we will do that when you come back in. Or like it put boundaries on stuff. So like if it wasn't in the category that was in our allotted time chunk of that schedule, it gave me a way to say like, this isn't what we're doing in this time, instead of prior when I would say yes to everything. And when you've got 3 kids that are asking you to do things, it's like you just feel like you're walking through quicksand, like you're not making any progress in your day. And by the end of the day, you're like, what did we even get done? You were just kind of putting out little fires everywhere. And so I think this helps kind of temper that. Let's see. So that's 1, 2, 3. Okay, number 4, it also puts boundaries on when to stop. So one thing I have a problem with is I'm more like, okay, I really want us to accomplish this math worksheet or this whatever. And I may go until we can finish it, even if we've pushed past like the length of time when maybe we should be wrapping that up. And so I might focus a lot on something, and then all this other stuff doesn't get done. And so if you have a schedule, it puts a boundary on it. It's like, okay, between this chunk of time, we're going to be doing these subjects, and whatever we don't get done, that will carry over to the next day. We don't have to keep doing it until it's fully done. And now we've pushed into lunch, and we're pushing, and the whole day gets like ricocheted and pushed back. So it really allows these boundaries around all these things so that you're hitting everything a little bit during the day, like daily, rather than like something doesn't get touched that day because you've spent way too much time on something that maybe you should have split in half and done the rest the next day. So anyway, it puts boundaries on when to stop. Let's see. Number 5, it sets goals easily. I feel like it's really good for me because I can say, okay, my goal is to be done with like making like between 8 and 9:30. That is our window to get everybody dressed, teeth brushed, breakfast cooked, eaten, cleaned up. Like the table is clean. The kids have wiped down the table and vacuumed the floor or whatever. It's like that is the window to do that, and it motivates me to be quick. I tend to be very relaxed. So in the morning, I will just take my time. We might like be listening to music, and I'm just like, oh, next thing you know, it's like it's 10 o'clock and that's when we're starting our day. So this helps me stay within a goal, a schedule does. And I work really well with goals. So I'm like, we have to get all this stuff done by 9:30. And then when it's done, it's like, okay, next thing, let's move into the next thing. So we've been a lot more productive. Number I didn't number these. What is it? Number 6. This is the last one for this video. I feel that a schedule provides a rhythm. And so I know I mentioned that kids need structure. I think they also need consistency. I also think I need consistency, and it provides a rhythm. And the more we're doing this schedule, it just runs smoother. Like everybody knows what to expect, and no one is, it's like the battle over doing school. It's not like, "Oh, I want to be playing, but I don't want to be doing school." It's like everybody knows this is not the playtime. Playtime comes later. This is the school time. It's like they just know what we're doing, and they accept it so much easier than when it was just like totally variable throughout the week and the day. So those are the reasons why I've really enjoyed having a schedule. This is part 1 of the video. In part 2, I'm going to explain what schedule we've used, and maybe a little bit I'll show you what my actual schedule is. So thanks for watching.